is OmnusI, and today I just kind of want to talk a little bit. You know, there have been a number of people over the years who have inspired me. Of course, the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, the first fantasy I ever read. Absolutely inspiring. Fired my love of reading, my love of fantasy literature, which eventually basically led me in the direction of loving gaming and all the things that that's given me. Music hasn't had as much impact in my life, but it has had some. Primarily, I love classical music, Baroque, things that most people just classify under classical. But there are some artists out there whose music I have enjoyed, and different aspects, different elements of their music inspired me in different ways. And obviously, I'm not getting any younger. Neither are my musical idols. And it's kind of rough because life's measuring stick is often measured by who you don't have in it anymore. As people you know of and have enjoyed, and whether that's your relations, your friends. You know, if you're lucky, you live long enough to say goodbye to an awful lot of people. 2016 was rough. We lost a lot of people in 2016. It seemed like every day somebody else was passing away, somebody we cared about. 2016, the capstone of it for me was David Bowie. I wasn't a raving fan of David Bowie, but he was somebody whose music I could always tap into. I could always enjoy a bit of different things. He had so many different angles, and I did enjoy his music quite a bit. Before that, though, I remember when I first heard that Freddie Mercury had passed. One of the biggest names of people to have passed away from HIV. But I loved his voice. It was just so incredible. There are few people in the world whose voices I absolutely hold in breathless admiration. Because if I could be completely honest with you, one of the things I really wish I could have done with my life, I wish I could have been a singer. I admire using the human voice, man's own instrument, and I don't have the voice for it. I don't have the ear for it. I'm functionally tone deaf, so it's unfortunate. Those people who have that gift have a definite gift. But I absolutely loved what Bowie did with music, with all the experimentation and the different directions he took music. I love Freddie Mercury for his range and the heart in his music. But there's another person who inspired me in music. I mean, there's other people that I've enjoyed, clearly. I mean, I love Alice Cooper. Just because I love the journey that his life took, tongue-in-cheek, almost dying at one point and then coming back, not really changing the message, but completely changing the message. You know, still doing the shock rock stuff, but he doesn't need to. But yeah, it's there's one other person who got me through college and other things. It was somebody who taught me that having the gift is great, but trusting in your gift is something that's pretty special. Not a lot of people can do that, especially if the entire world tells you you're not to be taken seriously. You're not. You may have some talent, but you're certainly never going to succeed at what you really want to do. And that, I think many people face that. Some people have success just handed to them, but I think for a lot of us, there are obstacles, clear-cut obstacles. Obviously, my obstacle to singing is I'm not good at it. I sing in the shower, and I think the cat is offended. But the one person I wanted to, think about was the artist known as Loaf. Product of the 70s, had a massive success coming into the 80s with his Bat Out of Hell album, and very much rock and roll, but he didn't look like a rock star. Meatloaf never cut that image. He was never a guy you would see with his shirt off and you'd see his abs and he looked like he was freshly starved like Axl Rose in the heyday, or wasn't going to go around in tights too often, high kicking like a David Lee Roth. And he had long hair, which wasn't something you saw often in a man of his size. But the voice and the passion he put into it, and even learning about his journey and all the different things that he did, from going into doing musicals and acting, because there is an appetite for big men in acting. Part of why I had a passion for acting myself. It was something that I could do even being who I am. And he was one of the few people who could defy the image. And despite the fact that, he's a big guy, big man, and he could put on such incredible performances, and so much theater went into his performances. Again, his background in musicals and theater, and just so good. And his music just touched so many people's lives, because he sang about things we could all understand. Love, being a little risky when you're young, sure. And his music matured as he got older and older. I mean, he didn't just stick like like Alice Cooper still sings 18, and it's kind of funny because when you get your 70s, singing about being 18 just kind of gets to be stretched. We still love it, but his music got more and more mature as he went on. Sometimes regretful, sometimes angry, but still, just that voice of his just would wrap you up and suck you in, and I really did enjoy it. When I was in college, that was when Bat Out of Hell 2 came out, and he made another run of trying to grab that huge success again that he had with Bat Out of Hell 1, and he never got it. He never got that other, that huge blockbuster hit. It's still Bat Out of Hell is the thing he'll always be known for. I mean, he got awards, certainly. He still racked up millions of records in sales. So by any stretch of measurement of success, he was successful. Again, a person that his type of music didn't seem to fit. That's why he'd have to do all these live performances. Tried to sell himself and sell the dream of what he wanted to do. He couldn't just hand in a cassette to somebody and say, this is what I want. It didn't work until you kind of knew what the experience was. Like when his career didn't take off really until he did Saturday Night Live and everybody could get a chance to see what his performance was like, the energy he put into it, the soul he had. And that really caused his career to take off, because they could associate that performance, his absolutely amazing voice, with all of that. I think the biggest thing that he did was he gave people like me hope. We don't fit the mold necessarily of performers or, successful people, perhaps. And, maybe I fit the gamer mold because we're not supposed to succeed. Gaming is just a niche industry. We're just a sideline while the real successful people go on. And even some of those successful people have cribbed into our territory now, and some of the successful people are going into the gaming group, and they're actually being successful in a way that we only wish we could. I mean, how many gamers and how many of us little YouTube channels wish we could get a tenth of the attention that that a Joe Manganiello has, or why can I never ever remember what's his name from Critical Role? Matt Mercer. That's it, Matt Mercer. We wish we could get a tenth of their attention. We wish we could get that kind of an audience, but it doesn't happen so often. But a guy like Meatloaf tells all of us that it's possible, if you have heart and you never give up, and you trust your talents, you can make it. Now, not all of us can throw everything we are at that. That would be the equivalent of me quitting my job and doing YouTube full time. Would be the rough equivalent. And in that, there's no guarantees of success. Again, the market's kind of saturated. That's not really likely. This will almost certainly always remain my hobby. But it's possible. And I've had a great example in people like Loaf. So, today, Loaf passed away. It is the 21st of January, 2022. And for a guy that I've gone to 2 of his concerts on only, and I only own a couple of CDs and cassettes of, you know, he touched my life in a way that was positive, and, you know, I still have his music, I'll still listen to it, but the world got a little bit quieter, which is a shame. So, Loaf, this to you. So, yeah, I'm feeling this a little bit more than I frequently have with people passing away in the past, but I don't know, I always felt a connection with Loaf. Being the same, you know, suffering some of the same drawbacks he did with this kind of body, and I wish I'd had half of his talent. So, but yeah, that's me. That's where I'm coming from tonight. So as far as a tribute goes to Loaf, goodbye. Thank you for everything. And I'll try to come a little bit closer to the potential that I have in a way that you showed me how to do, by putting more of myself into it, driving forward and seeing what I can do. So, thank you again. And thank you to all of you. This is a little maudlin, I understand. It's a little bit of a downer. But it's something I felt I had to do. So, thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon, and with more content, I promise. So, thanks, and farewell.